Hey everybody, Chris here at Broadbase. You're watching the November edition of the Digital Marketing Roundup. Just to give you a quick rundown on how this works, we take some of the most interesting questions our clients and colleagues ask us, and we answer them every month in this format. If you have anything you'd like us to feature, you can email me at chris@bbase.com, and we'll include it next time. All right, let's go ahead and get started. So first question, and this is one that we hear quite a bit. What performs better, Facebook ads or Google ads? And really, the reason why we get this question so much, I think, is because for the longest time, Google was the 400-pound gorilla with digital advertising, both on a paid perspective, like AdWords, as well as just optimizing websites to rank highly in search. Facebook obviously has exploded in popularity, and it's proven to be a really good way for message building awareness as well as generating leads. So this is a good question, I guess. To answer it, Google, what Google offers is intent, right? So when someone searches for a specific product or service, we know they're intending to learn more about it and eventually make a purchase. Intent, however, carries a pretty hefty price tag, and for anyone that's run Google ad campaigns, the cost per click it can be exceedingly high, depending on how competitive your industry is, and you're usually early on the purchase process where someone may not be ready to move forward. So you pay a lot of money to get that intent. Facebook, you lack intent, obviously, but it's a targeted, highly targeted reach, considerably less expensive than Google ads. So you can go a long ways of creating that intent. People may not have known that they even want your product or service yet, but getting out in front of them with some really advanced targeting and retargeting too, from someone who visits your website, following them, quote unquote, back to Facebook with an ad can be very effective. So that's what Facebook provides. The ads look a lot better as well, especially with some recent updates Facebook's made with what you can do with carousel ads, where you can show multiple images. You can show videos, obviously. You can just do a lot more with your creative on Facebook. So again, that's certainly an advantage there. Google ads, when they're run on mobile-only campaigns, we found to be very effective and a lot less expensive too, because you're only targeting people that are on their phones, which is where more and more people are starting their search and their evaluation process for new services and products that they want. So really, it's a bit of a mixed answer. I don't know that one's better than the other. It really depends on your specific industry and what your goals are for your campaigns. But typically, we're seeing more and more people put more budget into Facebook and social media. And in a lot of cases coming away from Google. So definitely a good one there. So again, looking at a couple ads here. This is a Google search ad on the left. They do pretty good job. This is obviously for mortgages. You can see they've got their rating here, which we always recommend. If you have 5-star reviews, you want to showcase those in your ad. Do a really good job with some sublinks here. They've got some actual pricing. So this is a pretty rich ad on Google. And again, this is what you would see on a mobile device, which we find to be very effective. And then here's Facebook. This is from one of our campaigns, which we target at healthcare and doctors' offices. As you can see, very visual. We're using some animated images here, and you can see also you can have a lot more room with copy. Google ads, you have like a fixed character limit. Again, some calls to action. So there's just more you can do with Facebook ads, but again, both can be very effective, provided that you're being very precise with your targeting and how you have your technology set up relative to mobile devices. So question 2, how do you pick the best marketing automation tool? Marketing automation for a lot of companies has become a huge priority as we close out 2017 and move into 2018. And we get this one a lot because there's a lot of tools out there. And so that becomes one of the bigger decisions that companies have to make before they even get into their messaging and copywriting and all that fun stuff. What tool are they going to use to send all this out? So really, we like to begin that process of finding out, what's the best tool based on your budget. I mean, some of these are, if anyone's ever priced these out, they can get very expensive. They have typically annual term commitments. So, once you decide to make that investment, you got to stick with it. So it's very important that you look at, your cost per lead, your cost per sale, and really allow that to guide your budget. So if you've got a transactional, smaller product or service, you're going to have to sell a lot of it. That's going to contribute to how you evaluate your marketing automation tool, whereas if you have a very expensive non-transactional, something that maybe only gets purchased once every quarter, then you may want to put a little more money behind that to get a more robust tool so that you can take advantage of the technology to sell your product or service. Again, this is a big one. How tech savvy is your company? If you've got employees, salespeople that are going to be using this tool and they're not used to technology or they've never used a tool like this before, that's going to also guide your decision a little bit. You don't want to get, because some of these are pretty advanced tools, so you don't want to get something that is going to be confusing or difficult to use, which honestly would defeat the purpose. So that also figures into your decision. And this is one I always like to do. Ask your salespeople, what's their wish list? What are things that, if they could make one change to how their sales process goes relative to, having content or different, marketing automation pieces, what would they like to do? What's some of the stuff the competition's doing, right? And start having that dialogue with them. And you'll get some colorful answers, certainly. But I think it'll also be very helpful in picking the best tool for your company. And then another big part of it is how often can you produce fresh content. This is a challenge a lot of companies have. It's kind of like you got to put gas in this engine, especially if you've invested money in having these campaigns out. You can't just keep sending the same content over and over. You've got to have a strategy in place to produce fresh content, and that's where, if you're going to do that in-house, if you're going to partner with an agency, all that has to be determined before you pick the tool, because if you pick one that's dependent on fresh content and you don't have the resources in place, obviously that's going to be a misuse of that budget. So be sure to check on that as well. Here you can see we've got some examples from our own tool that we use for our campaigns here at the agency. You can see they give you a really good idea of what's happening with the individual emails, what links people are clicking on. You can set goals in Google Analytics to see when the conversions are happening, what campaigns are producing the most. So again, this all figures into the evaluation process of the marketing automation tool. If you've got people that know how to do this and can take advantage of the features, as well as have a good return on the investment you're making for whatever the fee of that particular tool costs. So moving to question 3, what's the best way to get feedback on my website? And this is a really good one. We've had some interesting interactions with clients, because obviously so much work goes into the design of a website, so much time and obviously money. You want to make sure you're getting honest feedback, and sometimes it's difficult to do that and do it objectively. If it's only in-house people or your agency helping you. So really this is one that's becoming more and more important, because competition on the web is higher than it's ever been, and you got to make sure that your website stands out, that it's easy to use, and obviously most importantly gets results. So the best way to do that, user testing, you can do that formally or informally. Again, formally would mean you go and hire a UX or user experience team that can go and conduct the study in a controlled environment with objective people that are going to shoot you straight, so to speak, and give you information. It may be painful to hear, but again, it's valuable feedback, because these people are being honest and open about what they think, not only the look and feel of your website, but how easy it is to use, or conversely, how difficult it is to use. On the informal side, again, just find some friends, family, colleagues, and let them know that, look, I need objective, honest feedback, and just try to get some little data points here and there of what could be improved. And it's also good to do this frequently, right? Not just once here and there. People are using the web every single day for personal and business use, so their habits are changing, and you got to make sure you keep up. So it's a good idea to do whatever you have in the budget, whether it's formal or informal. Get some opinions on it, and get some really good feedback that you can turn into something that can be used actionably to make the feedback there. Another good one is they have programs that show you a heat map of your website activity. So they show you where people are clicking, how often they're clicking there, and it's presented in a visual way. It almost looks like a weather map where, if it's red, that means there's a lot of activity, and then it goes yellow, green, etc. And it gives you really, like I say, visual representation of what people are doing on the website. So got an example here, and this is just a popular website, QuickSprout. Just to kind of show you, most people are going to the search. Most people are clicking up here for their call to action, which this is obviously a lead gen piece. So really neat way. These are typically very inexpensive. A neat way to see, visually what people are doing on the website. Another one, break out the stopwatch. See how long it takes someone who's never been on your website, again, friend, family, some type of colleague that really hasn't spent a lot of time on your website. Get out most phones have a stopwatch, your smartphone, and just see how long it takes them to find a particular area on the site that you think is a high value area. So for instance, if that's to fill out a contact form to contact you, find out how long it takes them to find out where that form is. Find out how long it takes them to find your phone number on any given web page. Now, it's a really neat little exercise just to see, is this easy to do? Is it quick to do? Or does it take an exorbitant amount of time? And obviously that can be something that can be fixed. So again, just to wrap up the roundup, Google and Facebook ads should be used in tandem. It's really difficult to say if there's one is preferred over the other. So again, it's always good to test both and see what performs better. The perfect marketing automation tool has to be the perfect fit for you and your company. So when you're evaluating those tools, take those things into consideration. And if anything you're going to invest in, as we move into a new year, user testing, get the real truth on what's happening on your website. Again, it can be done informally, it can be done formally, and you can put some budget behind it. But really, take the time to do that. It's very important, again, as how we use the web changes to make sure that your website's keeping up with that. So, again, if you have questions for next month's Roundup, go ahead and email me. It's right here on the screen, chris@bbase.com. And I appreciate everybody watching.